When Twilight Starfire met the Morning Star. Chapter 3 Extermination Day, Part 2. A few years later. As the exterminations continued annually, many more souls had their lives taken from them a second time, and the Goetia princess Octavia was presumably living with the Princess of Hell. The exorcists were ruthless killers who would do anything to make sure the people of Hell suffered greatly. They were among those who firmly believed that the residents of Hell did not deserve their afterlife, even if they were to be spent in Hell. Every year, the leader of this great exorcist army, the first man Adam, brought them down to kill as many sinners and demons as they could find out in the open. However, they could not kill all of them in one extermination alone. Still, Adam continued his work to cleanse Hell and ensure they had paid for their sins and wrongdoings. His brave Lieutenant Lute was more than happy to provide her services to him, and she was content to fight by his side each time. For heaven, things were going smoothly, and there was nothing, absolutely nothing, that would get in the way of Adam's plans. Or so he thought. For Hell's very own princess had genius plans of her own. Young Charlie Morningstar had been hard at work recently. She was putting together a hotel for sinners and demons alike, to stay, heal, and rehabilitate. She believed that a sinner could be redeemed if only they were willing to put in the effort. Such a thing was unheard of in both realms, and was especially frowned upon in Hell. Charlie wanted what was best for her people. She felt such sorrow for the people she was to rule over someday. And more than anything, she wanted to be the future queen they needed her to be. She felt responsible, and she wanted them to be happy. Happy. Ah, yes, the main thing that was also unheard of in Hell. As for Octavia, she had tried so hard to forget the things she had been through with her mother and father. She never wanted to think about it ever again. Although it angered her, she hoped deep down that some things could be worked out between them someday. She just wouldn't be around to see it happen. She didn't believe in Charlie's idea of redemption. However, she had somehow been convinced to help the princess land her own interview with the head news anchor Katie Killjoy and her partner Tom Trench. The princess had high hopes that her good message would spread throughout Hell and would be helping sinners to find the way up to heaven in no time. Octavia sighed as she walked through the streets of Hell. She occasionally glanced down at her phone, awaiting a response from Charlie. Her best friend had texted her about some plan to get her ideas all across Hell in one immediate action, but the message was out of context, and Octavia had no idea where to look. She looked back at the previous message from the princess. It read, "Got the most amazing idea on how to advertise the Happy Hotel. Smiley face. Meet me at the 666 news station." That was the last thing Charlie had said to her after she had mysteriously disappeared from his sight. Octavia had texted her back a few times, but it was no use. The princess's mind was made up, and all that was left now was to find her. She just hoped Charlie knew what she was getting herself into. Just then, a car pulled up a few feet away from where she was standing. She recognized the tall, spider-like demon that got out of the car. It was none other than Angel Dust. He was a porn star, but he was also the Happy Hotel's first recruit. Well, Charlie preferred the word clientele. He smoothed his hair back and smirked at the guy driving the car. "Thanks for the fun time. Hot stuff," the guy said. Yeah, listen," Angel responded, quickly interrupting him. "I can't let it get out that I'm offering my services to randos on the street. It was a quick cash grab. Got it?" "Whatever you say, slut," the guy said with a laugh. "Ouch! Ooh, such an insult," Angel said sarcastically. "Let me know when you come up with something creative to call me, you sack of poorly packaged horse shit. Tell the missus I said hi. Schnookums." He gave the guy a kiss on the nose, and he angrily drove off, muttering Angel's insults and annoyance as he drove off. From the sound of it, Octavia was pretty sure he had crashed into something. She hoped the guy was all right. Then again, knowing what Angel was like and who he liked to be associated with, it was safe to say that the guy had probably been a bad influence on him. Octavia sighed again, and then heard the sound of her phone ringing. She had finally decided to respond. Octavia's heart leaped with joy as she picked up her phone and answered it. Angel noticed and winked at her, which she ignored, and turned away from him. "Charlie, fucking finally," Octavia said. "Why haven't you been answering my texts? I need to know where you are." Via, I have great news, Charlie squealed, clearly not hearing Octavia's concern. Kitty Killjoy has agreed to interview me. This is my one chance to broadcast my idea and advertise the hotel for all of hell to see. Wow, well, that's great news, Charlie, Octavia said. Really, so proud of you. But again, where is the news station exactly? Her question was interrupted as she was pulled to the side by Angel. Thankfully, it hadn't been too sudden, and she had kept a good grip on her phone. They were well hidden behind some debris, and Angel had his guns out. As usual, the spider was up to his antics yet again. Well, not really as usual. Since first joining the hotel, Angel had been clean for about 2 weeks now, but it looked as if he was on a losing streak now. Octavia rolled her eyes and glared at Angel in annoyance. Angel, what the hell? She demanded. Hey, stay down if you don't want to die, Angel warned her, making sure she stayed out of sight so she wouldn't get caught up in the fight. He got in a few more shots, even from where they were taking shelter. Octavia took a deep breath to calm herself and started again. Angel, she said, I don't have time for this. Right now, Charlie is about to be interviewed, and she needs me to be there supporting her. So, for fuck's sake, would you please drop the antics and lend me a hand? But instead of listening to what she was saying, Angel gave her one of his many hands which had a gun in it. She narrowed her eyes at him. Oh, come on, that was funny! Look, didn't I just save your life? Give me credit at least. Look, just take the gun, all right? She rolled her eyes and took the gun, starting to shoot in self-defense. While it was true that there were powers that came with being a geisha and a royal demon, she would prefer not to use them while she had no idea how. The last thing she wanted to do was hurt someone she would regret hurting later on. She would rather not have blood on her hands from killing an innocent person. Hey, Cherry, wait up, Angel called out to his girl best friend, dragging Octavia along as they both came out of hiding. She had seen this girl before a few times. The girl's name was Cherry Bomb, and the two were inseparable. What they did together was wrong, but it was hell after all. And who was she to judge? Seriously, Angie? What's she doing here? Cherry asked, glancing at Octavia. Hey, it's not my fault he dragged me here, Octavia pointed out. Angel grabbed her arm as they ducked to avoid one of Sir Prentice's attacks. He was an old enemy of Cherry's, and they often battled to each other. Well, up until Angel tried to go clean. But that was out of the window for him, unfortunately. Just slow us down, Cherry complained. Hey, I'm not that bad with a gun, Octavia told her, clearly offended. She shot a few of Prentice's eggs as proof of her own capability. Yeah, that's my girl. You're doing great, sweetie, Angel agreed, blowing a kiss at Octavia and winking, to which the princess looked away in awkwardness. He turned back to Cherry. Relax, Cherry. We got this. Nothing's gonna happen to her as long as I'm around. If you say so, Cherry sighed. Now come on, let's finish this. Hell yeah, sugar tits, Angel said. He turned back to Octavia. I'll create a distraction so that you can get out of here. Oh, keep it. I got plenty of others. Besides, you can pay me back later. Some other way. His tone went flirty suddenly, which made Octavia's face turn red. Okay, fine, she said. Whatever gets me to Charlie. Do you know where the 666 News Studio is? Angel pointed with one of his arms and made the distraction while Octavia made a run for it. She hoped she wasn't going to be too late. She knew that Kitty Killjoy would not wait too long, and this was possibly the most important thing that Charlie had ever done. She had to be there to support her through it all, and she knew just how rude the other demons in the room might be once the princess pitched her idea. There you are, Charlie said, running up to her and giving her a hug. You made it. Suddenly, her face changed as she noticed Octavia was carrying a gun. Octavia? Why do you have one of Angel's guns? Long story, Octavia said. But let's not talk about that right now. Let's focus on your interview. Shall we? Are you ready? Yes, let's do this, Charlie exclaimed enthusiastically. Just look over here, and I'll mouth it to you, Octavia told her. Come on, Via, I know what to say, Charlie said. I just feel like we should make things sound more exciting. Oh, what if I sing a song about it? Octavia finished, giving her a knowing look. You knew I was gonna say that, Charlie said, smiling. Because I know you, Octavia told her. But please, don't sing to them. This is serious. And you know how these people might react to this highly unpopular opinion. Well, I'm better at expressing myself and my goals through song, Charlie pointed out. You sound like my dad, Octavia said with a small giggle, thinking of how much still is left to sing. Then she sighed sadly. Oh, I'm sorry, Charlie apologized, seeing her friend's expression change so suddenly. She put her hand on Octavia's shoulder in a comforting way. Look, don't think about it, okay? I promise you I will not sing, okay? I'll just have to resort to my impeccable improv skills. Her voice changed to a British accent, which brought back Octavia's smile. It was quite amusing to hear other people mimic her accent. She stood by the cameraman and waited to see what would happen next. Charlie confidently walked up to Katie Killjoy. Hi, she greeted her. I'm Charlie. She held out her hand in a welcoming manner. Katie Killjoy, the woman said, crushing her cigarette in one hand. I'd say it's a pleasure to meet you, but that would be a lie. You can put that away. I don't touch the gays. I have standards. Octavia rolled her eyes as she realized that this woman thought that she and Charlie were a couple. She wanted to interrupt and say that neither she nor Charlie were gay, but she knew she would completely ruin the interview. My time is money, so I'll keep this short, Katie continued. You're not here because we wanted you here. You're here because Jeffrey couldn't make it for his cannibal cooking segment. So don't get cute with me, honey, or I will fucking bury you. And we're back, the cameraman announced. Katie turned around, and she and Charlie were seated so that the interview could begin. So, Charlotte, Katie began. It's Charlie, the princess corrected her awkwardly. Whatever, Katie continued, not really caring. Tell us about this new passion project you've been insistently pestering our news station about. Octavia stood behind the camera, giving her a thumbs up. The princess took a deep breath before beginning. Well, as most of you know, I was born here in hell, Charlie said, and growing up, I always tried to see the good in people. Hell is my home, and you are my people. We just went through another extermination. We lost so many souls, and it breaks my heart to see my people being slaughtered every year. So, I've been thinking, isn't there a more humane way to hinder overpopulation here in hell? A way to change souls through redemption? Well, I think yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm opening the first of its kind, a hotel that rehabilitates sinners. There was an awkward silence as nobody clapped or cheered in response to Charlie's announcement. Octavia frowned in dismay, even though she had known this was going to happen. Sinners weren't exactly easy to convince, especially when you were stuck down here for so long. Many people had lost all hope, and there was no guarantee that Charlie's idea of redemption would even work. Meanwhile, somewhere out on the streets of hell, the radio demon stood watching a TV screen displaying Charlie's awkward expression as she tried to smile, despite her best efforts of being ignored. 'Cause hotels are for people passing through, she said, temporarily. I figure it would serve a purpose, a place to work towards redemption. Yay! The silence continued, and it became blatantly obvious that her audience wasn't agreeing with her. Octavia wanted to do something to help, but she was unsure of what to do. Look, Charlie said, each one of you has something good inside. I know you do. Maybe I'm not getting through to you. She smiled, getting an idea. Outside, the radio demon cocked his head to one side in curiosity. Oh no, Octavia groaned, knowing what Charlie was about to do. Okay, so basically, Charlie just sings, instead of every demon is a rainbow. And I'm not gonna sing that because I honestly might do a cover of that song one day, but we're gonna skip through that. Octavia groaned, knowing what was about to happen. Charlie glanced at her for a second, and Octavia gave a few small claps in support. There was one small moment of silence before the crowd burst out laughing at her idea. Katie Killjoy was laughing harder than anyone. What in the 9 circles makes you think a single citizen of hell would give 2 shits about becoming a better person? You have no proof this experiment even works. You want people to be good, Just because? Well, we have a patron already who's been making incredible progress, Charlie said confidently. Oh, and who might that be? Katie asked, not believing her. Oh, just someone named Angel Dust, Charlie answered, looking smug. The porn star? Tom piped up, intrigued. You fucking would, Tom, Katie said, turning to face him for a moment, her fingernails digging into the table. She turned back to Charlie. In any case, that's not even an accomplishment. I bet you can get that hooker to do whatever you want with enough booger sugar and lube. Oh, I beg to differ, Charlie shot back. He's been behaved, clean, and out of trouble for 2 weeks now. Just then, the commercial break ended, and the cameraman signaled that they were moving on with the program. Katie pushed Charlie off the table as she announced the turf war is happening right now. Charlie was surprised to see that Angel was in the frame and seen fighting alongside Cherry Bomb in yet another turf war. Oh, shit, Charlie said in disappointment. Oh, shit indeed, Katie agreed, seeming happy that things were working in her favor today. It looks like the newcomer is none other than porn actor Angel Dust. You must feel really stupid right now, she continued to laugh. Oh, yeah? Charlie challenged, getting pissed off now. Well, how does it feel that I got your pen, huh? Bitch! She picked up the news anchor's pen and glared at her. Katie began to grow bigger as her true demon form was revealed. In her anger, she lunged at Charlie and attacked. Before anyone could stop them, the two got into a fist fight. Octavia rolled her eyes as she realized she was going to have to be the one to separate the two. She hated using her powers, but more than anything, she despised using them in public for all to see. However, it was becoming quite clear to her that nothing else was going to stop this fight. Summoning her demon powers, inherited from her father, her body glowed and her eyes lit up as she shouted as loudly as she could above the noise. Everyone stop! She yelled, her voice roaring above the chaos. Suddenly, everyone stopped to look at her. She stared back challengingly. What the fuck are you all looking at? Would it kill you to shut the fuck up for 5 seconds? Shit! Once again, the uncomfortable silence was there, but this moment was much longer than the other ones she'd endured before. It was a clear indication that their silence meant something entirely different this time. Just then, Katie faced the camera again with her usual smile. Breaking news, she said. It looks like the missing Galicia princess has turned up right here in our very own news station. What an even juicier coincidence this is. Tell us, princess, what does your father think of you now? Hasn't he forgotten about you by now? Katie dragged Octavia back to the table where she was already sitting. Octavia was in no mood to answer any interview questions. She wanted to punch herself in the face for allowing herself to be seen on camera like this. None of this was part of her plan. She was on live television, and everyone in hell could see her now, including her father. That was the last thing she wanted. Unlike Charlie, she did not flinch from Katie's harsh words and did not smile awkwardly while trying to convey a point. Instead, she stared straight at the camera, and she spoke her final words. Have you no shame in this? She asked. This will be the last time you unnecessarily pry into other people's lives without permission. Using her demonic powers, she disconnected the TV and the cameras. Without looking back, she quickly grabbed Charlie and started to run out of the studio. She'd had enough, and she was ready to go back home. Charlie called for the royal limousine to take them back to the hotel where they would be safe from the backlash at the news station. Charlie was evidently upset over the whole thing, but Octavia was more concerned with who had seen her in that small space of time. She knew well enough that just a few seconds of screen time on the news was enough to bring attention to herself. She'd only agreed to come if it meant she didn't have to be in the spotlight, but now it was too late, and Stolas was probably seeing this right now. She just didn't want her former father to come looking for her. She didn't want to see him anymore. She'd been able to keep her true identity under wraps until now, and she was unsure of what to do now that people would start asking. They quickly picked up Angel on the way back to the hotel. Octavia frowned, looking out the window. Okay, what is it? Angel asked, feeling uncomfortable in the silence between the three of them. You two are being way too quiet. Did something happen while I was gone? Did something happen? Octavia repeated his question sarcastically. Angel, you're the one who fucked up Charlie's interview with your stupid little turf war. Now my dad knows I'm here, and he'll probably come looking for me. And it's all thanks to you and your selfish bullshit. Hey, calm down, Feathers, Angel said. Can I get a little credit for saving your life? And what about your daddy issues? You wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for me. Maybe, Octavia agreed, but it doesn't excuse what you did today. Look, at least we're on our way back home. Well, as close as you can get to a home down here. Oh, I'm so sorry, Your Highness, Angel joked. I promise I'll be very careful next time I go out. When were you going to tell me you're a royal demon? I never really talked about that part of my life, Octavia said, looking away in embarrassment. Want me to give you the royal treatment? Angel asked. You know, I'm here to please, baby. He winked at Octavia. She rolled her eyes at his flirtatious antics. She still wasn't used to his sexual nature and jokes. As a matter of fact, she found it rather annoying for him to do so. You wish, Octavia told him. That was really uncool, you know, Angel, Charlie said, finally speaking up. Uncool is an understatement, Charlie, Octavia said. I believe mediocre is the word you're looking for. Let's just hurry back and get everything sorted out then. Charlie nodded and even Angel agreed. Once the limo arrived at the hotel, Octavia flopped onto the couch and let out an exasperated sigh. The day had been exhausting and she was honestly ready for a nap. Perhaps that might be good for her and she might drift off to sleep and forget about everything that had happened today. She groaned, and Angel looked at her with a bit of worry. He was glad that her face was hidden, so that she couldn't see his true expression. You good there, Toots? Angel asked, not wanting to give away too much emotion. Tired, Octavia mumbled. I'll sleep on my tits, Angel said with another smirk. Here. He pulled Octavia closer to him so that her head was on his chest. What are you doing? Octavia asked. Just go to sleep, Angel told her. And don't tell Charlie about this. She was surprised by his random act of kindness. She was reluctant, but ultimately decided to sleep there in the end. She was too tired to tell him to fuck off. However, her eyes had barely been closed for more than a few minutes when she heard her best friend's voice again. Via? Charlie called out nervously. What? Octavia grumbled. Not now, Morningstar. I need sleep. But the radio demon is at the door, Charlie explained. What should I do? Okay. Octavia sighed, popping her head up to face Charlie for a second. You can talk to him so long as you don't let him in. Now, can I please have some peace and quiet? All this drama is giving me a headache. She flopped back down sleepily. For once, Angel didn't suggest anything sexual. Although he made his usual jokes and talked about his life as a porn star, he never outright made Octavia do anything with him, and he never did anything to her that she didn't want. He had known her for so long, but he was very fond of her. She was like a little sister to him. Angel smiled down at her and started to pet her head feathers. They were soft. Not as soft as his chest fluff, of course, but they were pleasant to the touch. He noticed that Octavia had fallen asleep on him. He also saw that Charlie had completely ignored Octavia's advice and had decided to let the radio demon inside of the hotel. The radio demon's true name was Alistair. While he appeared cultured and refined on the outside, he was undoubtedly a killer on the inside, and he loved to show it off any time he got the chance. Would you mind shutting the fuck up for a minute? Angela asked, frowning at Alistair. Baby's sleeping over here. Charlie smiled at the sight of Octavia sleeping peacefully, while Alistair made static radio noises, clearly offended, though you wouldn't be able to tell so easily since he smiled all the time. Knowing that neither Charlie nor Alistair would stop talking, he got up and decided to carry Octavia to bed. He knew where her room was by now. When he had first joined the hotel, he had knocked on her door, acting all flirtatious and horny, but trying to make it less obvious that he just wanted a friend to talk to. Well, other than Cherry. He walked upstairs to Octavia's bedroom and gently laid her down. Angel, what? Octavia mumbled, waking up a little. Shh. It's okay, Feathers, he said softly. Just go back to sleep and relax. And hey, I'm sorry for the shitty things I said earlier. Can't be mad at you, Octavia said, her eyes still closed. Angel covered her up with a blanket and smiled at her once again. He made sure the room was dark enough so that Octavia could sleep without the lights interfering. He sat down beside her on the bed, still smiling. His pig, Fat Nuggets, jumped into his arms. "Don't you worry, kid," Angel said. "You're worth protecting. Your big brother Angel's gonna be here to keep you safe, no matter what." "Right, Nugs?" The pig snorted happily in response. Angel decided not to go back down with Charlie and Alistair. If given the choice, he would much rather stay in Octavia's room than go down and deal with the others while putting on his little facade. Besides, Octavia was really the only person who knew about his reason for being so fake and such a flirt all the time. He didn't have to pretend around her quite so much. When they were alone, he often found himself opening up to her, and she was willing to listen and be patient. Though nothing was said, Octavia cared for him too, and thought he was a sweetheart and a good brother to her. She had had no siblings of her own, so it was quite refreshing to have a relationship with Angel the way she did. He found himself snuggling up next to her sleepily, perfectly calm now, and his dreams were filled with peaceful things instead of the usual nightmares. This has been part 3 of When Twilight Starfire Met the Morning Star, an Octavia and Charlie fanfiction. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in part 4. Bye!